Sometimes we need to look back in time to understand the future. For centuries, business was conducted in marketplaces. Traders turned up with their goods, pottery and cloth, animal skins and meat. Customers, they came to buy. Deals were done and dusted in an instant, in cash. No credit card receipts and 30-day payment terms in those days. All a far cry from the electronic billing and same-day logistics we know today. As commerce expanded, suppliers began giving credit. Trade led to goods traveling further. Gradually, payment migrated from cash to paper invoices. Financial and physical transactions began to separate. Then they divorced. This brave new world was complex. Every invoice had to match an order. Contract and order terms with discounts, allowances and the like needed to tally with the invoice. Careful checking was needed to keep accounts payables and receivables aligned. Accounting is not a core business for most companies, but all rely heavily on their accounts departments and the people who work there. They are the ones who manage the piles of invoices. Accounting is resource intensive. It involves a lot of manual work, a lot of matching, a lot of chasing and correcting discrepancies. It requires many pairs of hands. It is therefore expensive. One might ask why companies should have to spend all this money. Why should the customer have to check the supplier's invoices and identify errors the supplier has made? Shouldn't suppliers be responsible for making sure everything's correct? And honestly, isn't all this manual labor a bit old-fashioned? Telephone operators like these used to manually connect calls to the right receiver, but their jobs were automated long ago. The truth is that scanning purchase information and manually matching orders with invoices is as outdated as the telephone exchange. Even with well-staffed accounts departments, finely tuned procedures and technological aids, businesses cannot spot every mistake. Errors in invoice handling are still common. So common, in fact, that the average business invoice overcharges the client by 1%. A remarkable statistic, don't you think? 1% on average for every invoice. For a €1 million purchase, that's 10,000 euros. For a company with billions in turnover, this amounts to a lot. Invoice errors occur the length and breadth of the European countries, every hour of every day. Sometimes an eagle-eyed person will spot and correct them. But like submarines in Swedish waters, many slip under the radar undetected. The trouble is, it's simply too cumbersome and expensive to manually match every delivery slip with every invoice and catch each deviation. So firms set a limit, say €100. Below that, it's simply uneconomic to handle the deviation. For businesses that send tens or hundreds of thousands of invoices a year, these amounts quickly accumulate and grow big. And the money from this leaking tap simply disappears down the plug hole and is gone forever. In other words, money down the drain. For years, we've been hearing that paper invoices are living on borrowed time. It's true that electronic invoices are gaining ground, but switching to electronic invoices doesn't solve payment errors. To eliminate them, we must eliminate the invoice. Radical as it may sound, this is already happening. The days of the invoice are numbered. Once indispensable, invoices are becoming surplus to requirements in a digital world. Redundancy awaits. Thanks to digitalization, all contracts, orders and payments can be fully automated. Removing the human factor means no more trawling through piles of paper or vast amounts of data to hunt down errors. and no need to send and process invoices. Automatic validation of electronic contracts and deliveries means that when the physical transaction occurs, your system will know what you've approved and what you've received. Communication is automatic, and so is payment, without an invoice. Qvalia is a company that helps customers and suppliers to automate this communication. We bring them together and make them more effective so both sides benefit. We do so in the cloud. With our technology, payment can be made the moment a delivery is received. Think of the savings. No more leakage. All those pairs of hands no longer needed to match contracts, deliveries, and invoices. A lean procurement process, allowing more time for strategic thinking. The transition is coming. It's merely a question of time. The technology is here. The only barrier lies in our willingness to use it. So if change is inevitable, why not do it now? What would you rather be, first on or last off?